Estamos en entrevista para el canal TvOnLine del Instituto Colombiano de Derecho Tributario con la doctora Rita Szudocsky. Dr. Rita Szudocsky, welcome to Colombia and welcome to the Institute. La doctora Rita Szudocsky es profesora asistente en el Instituto de Derecho Tributario Austriaco e Internacional de la Universidad de Economía de Viena, Austria, y dicta clases en el Centro Internacional de Impuestos de la Universidad de Leiden, Holanda. Realizó su doctorado en Derecho Tributario Europeo en el Centro Tributario de Ámsterdam de la Universidad de dicha ciudad. Previamente trabajó como investigadora senior asociada en el International Bureau of Fiscal Documentation en Holanda y en la Academia Internacional de Impuestos del mismo instituto. También ha trabajado como especialista de know-how en Loyens & Loeff Ámsterdam y como asociada legal en varios bufetes de abogados en Budapest, Hungría. La doctora Rita ha sido ponente en diversos seminarios y ha dictado conferencias sobre derecho tributario internacional y europeo, así como ha escrito varios artículos y libros en estos campos. Dr. Rita Szudocsky, as the final reports of the OECD G20 BEPS project were released last 5th of October, we would like to know your opinion on what are the challenges and opportunities for Latin American countries regarding these BEPS actions?
Thank you for the introduction and for such an important question at these momentous times when indeed we are just 1.5 weeks after the release of the final outcome of the BEPS project. And indeed, being here in Latin America, the most important question is that how Latin American countries can make use of the results of this project, taking into account their own policy objectives, their own tax policy considerations, and at the same time complying with the expectation that Latin American countries will also be on board for this project and will take over the recommendations, or at least the majority of them. And for that reason, I think you have to take into account that most of the Latin American countries are emerging economies, and they are at the stage of economic development when they want to attract more foreign direct investment, more companies, more businesses. And that is not really the main purpose of the BEPS project. Of course, the BEPS project is rather curbing or limiting the means through which countries can do that, can attract businesses to their own territory, because the BEPS project is mainly about strengthening anti-avoidance rules, about making sure that preferential tax regimes are drafted in a way that they only benefit real economic activity in a certain country. And as the overall purpose, as we all know, is to make sure that taxation occurs where substantial economic activity, business activity occurs. So I think the challenge is to find a balance between the two objectives, one being that Latin American countries also want to comply with the results of the BEPS project and implement all these measures which will curb BEPS activities, but on the other hand to do so in a way that they preserve the competitiveness of their tax system. And I think that as regards the opportunities, there are certain actions within the BEPS action plan which are specifically beneficial for source countries, and Colombia and Latin American countries are mainly source countries at this stage. For example, Action 7, which is about the reconsideration of the PE concept, is all about lowering the PE concept to enable source countries to tax non-resident enterprises in a broader scope. And also the transfer pricing actions can be an opportunity for Latin American countries in order to make sure that multinational enterprises who are present here are not stripping off their income from these countries. Of course, the main question is whether the way that the OECD recommends to do so, to repair the transfer pricing rules or to improve their functioning, is really the easiest way, especially for Latin American countries, because it will entail a lot of new challenges for tax administrations, the interpretation of the arm's length principle, new administrative burden and compliance burden for taxpayers. So again, here there is a careful balancing exercise which will need to be done. And I think these are the main considerations that Latin American countries should take into account when they are thinking of signing up to the BEPS project, or to which actions to sign up actually.
Thank you very much, Dr. Szudocsky.